So today's class is just basically going to be about balancing the nervous system so that amongst all chaos around you, you don't have any control over that. The only thing you have control over is your own reactions. So our responsibility to our own happiness, right? Because things get crazy and we're always getting sucked into somebody else's vortex or something, right? So we have an energy field in our body, right? That runs like a toroidal field. And you can look that up, and it comes through the center of the body, up and out, and then back in through the bottom. It also comes down from the top and up and out and in. So you can see that picture of the toroidal field of the human body. We want to make sure that we're centered in that. That's why we're always like, oh, something knocked me off my center. I need to get back to my center. I need to find my center. So we're going to do a bunch of different techniques that bring us back to that. Okay. So I always like to start with the hookups for the center midline, right? So the first thing is we'll just basically hold Ren 8, which is your spirit gate. That's the navel. So Ren 8, we're going to hold this. We're going to hold, so make a 5-finger notch. Hold the navel, and then the third eye point, right between the eyebrows, is your yin tang point. Okay, now all of these points calm the spirit, which is called Shen, right? So then we're going to calm the spirit, and we're going to take 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 deep breaths and hold these. So this is your lower dantian in martial arts and your upper, your positive and negative terminals of your battery. So let's do some deep breathing. Don't force the breaths, just nice and slow and deep. And then I want you to go ahead and, if whatever's bothering you right now, what sound would that make, right? It's some vortexing wheel of stress held somewhere in your body. What does that sound like if you were to create vibrational medicine and get rid of that? Take a deep breath and exhale out that sound. Maybe it's exasperation. Maybe it's anger. Maybe it's just discombobulation. So you're going to go, whatever, make a sound. It's better out than in. So now we're going to work with the lower dantian. So take your right hand, or whichever hand you were using, on the back, directly behind the navel. So this is your spirit gate on your central meridian. And then on your governor meridian, positive and negative terminals of the battery of your body, that's where you're pressing on the mid-back point. And if you're making a 5-finger notch, you're getting there. And let's connect to this lower power center in martial arts, right? Like these are legitimately power centers of energy that can be seen, just like the river system of the meridians in the body that the Chinese knew 5,000 years ago, as well as Indian cultures. So we know that we can access these points. About 15 to 20 years ago, we had the diagnostics to prove exactly what they said. That's why you'll find acupuncture and these types of techniques are, like acupuncture using the meridian system is covered, on your taxes or by insurance. So let's connect to this lower power center down here. It comes right out from your inner core. Let's do 3 to 5 deep breaths. Make sure you're breathing out of the lower abdomen and the ribs and not straight up into the neck. Your shoulders shouldn't be moving. So gate of life at the back and spirit gate at the front, right? Really good places to hold to regulate your energy. This is your lower pilot light, okay? So now put both hands along the back and just massage either side of your spine at that Mingmen point. Governor vessel 4, or in Chinese it's called Du 4. I'm going to circle those hands and then bring that gate of life energy around to the front lower dantian. Put your thumbs in your navel, make a triangle. These points through here are really also your lower dantian. We're going to breathe in and out of this power center here. Now, when energy moves, when you're holding these points, it's facilitating energy moving, right? So there's no stagnation, and energy is also regulating where it might be going too fast. You might feel a sigh, you might have a yawn, you might burp or belch or fart. That's all movement of energy, okay? So just let it out. On your next inhale, let's inhale the left hand up to the heart center, the middle dantian. Central vessel 17, the sea of qi. Again, more spirit calming areas. Bring your awareness to these two power centers. You lit the fire in the lower dantian, now you're bringing it up to the heart center so that you can be a lot more heart-centered in your energy and the way you meet the world. No matter what chaos is out there, being heart-centered and being centered will serve you well for the rest of your life. You need to let go of a big sigh, let it go, make the sound. Better out than in. That's vibrational medicine. On your next inhale, we're going to take the inhale, left hand comes, brings the energy up. The heel of the palm goes on that yin tang point, you already know. And then the fingers lay onto the top of the head on the center midline, which is the point Governor Vessel 20 by Hui. Again, more calming of the spirit. The upper dantian points. There's 3 major dantians, and you're lighting all those fires to recenter your energy. These are major chi regulation centers. You can take your hand that's on your lower dantian, because we just completed the rising of some energy, and let's bring that hand back down the back of the skull into that divot, the soft spot where the skull meets the back of your head meets your neck. That's Governor Vessel 16. And it also calms the spirit and regulates wind. It's called Feng Fu. And that's wind. And wind is basically stress, whether it's inner stress of thinking too much, overthinking, or outer stress environmentally, like actual wind. EMF, from the man-made electromagnetic fields that we were not meant to evolve in from wireless technology. But also somebody yelling at you is wind, isn't it? They're blowing hot air. And let's take our 5-finger notch now just to the top, Governor Vessel 20 and Governor Vessel 16. Whew. And these 2 power points continue to regulate the nervous system and calm the Shen, the spirit. You can start to feel a settling effect, right? So let's reach around and kind of bend over and reach into your middle back, the middle back, as high up as your shoulders can go. It's a good exercise and a good stretch. And just start rubbing up and down your spine there. So that's the opposite CV17, your heart center for the middle dantian. And then start just rubbing on either side of your spine all the way back down to your Mingmen point, governor vessel 4, which is right behind the navel. So we brought all the energy up and lit all the lights, and now we're grounding it back down to the lower dantian, okay? Whew, it always feels good when you get right here. And then pull that back around to the lower dantian, thumbs in the navel, and do a few breaths right here. So you completed the full circuit. You probably feel a little more grounded from when you started. Then let's take that left hand here and the right hand here so that you're acknowledging the bidirectional flow of energy in your core, your center radiant soul, your radiance, your life force, your chi, your center power. And then we'll switch. And then go ahead and just feel that energy come out and then back up. And then lifting it up, pulling it back down that center pole to your heart center. Good. And then thumbs in the navel to the lower dantian. It's a really good practice just to strengthen that core. You can also do this standing, like if you had no other choice. I'm sitting so that we can kind of hit as many different points as easily as possible. Okay, so after we get to that, let's do a breathing technique called Nadi Shodhan, which is a pranayama, which has decades of evidence base showing that it calms the nervous system, the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system, the Ida, the Pingala, the yin, the yang. It's all balancing, the hemispheres of the brain as well as these really important regulators in our body, okay? So to do that, if you've never done the pranayama before, or if you want an explanation, you take the thumb, which is the lungs, the breathing, the diaphragm, and that's the lung meridian, and the index finger, which is the large intestine meridian, put them together, put your other 3 fingers together, that's your mudra for assisting, and put the palm up on the left thigh. Take the middle finger and the index finger and put that on your power center point, your extraordinary point, the yin tang point, calming of the spirit. Take your thumb, put it on the right nostril, and the ring finger on your left nostril. So we're going to inhale through the left, exhale through the right. Inhale through the right, exhale through the left. In a nice, really deliberate, slow way. And we're going to continue that cycle. I'll guide you through the first 15, 20 seconds, and then we'll do it for another minute and a half. Go ahead and inhale left. Close your eyes. Block that nostril, open the right, exhale right. Inhaling right. Block the nostril, open the left, exhale left. Inhaling left. Exhaling right. Inhaling right. Block, open the left, exhaling left. Inhaling left and continue. And then I want you to finish exhaling through the left nostril. Okay, good. So from there, like, compare, even you can hear my voice has actually gone down. It's lower. It's not as, robust or tense, maybe, right? Like you'll feel like you're much more in your body now because you literally centered. And those are two right there. Just those techniques alone are golden if you don't have time for anything else, right? Let's go deeper. Let's go into some of the meridians with the emotions. So you can do something called tapping on the meridian points to move the emotions that are stuck. A lot of what we're talking about is the fact that we should have 100% voltage, 100% energy, because we are bioelectric beings. Your heart's electric, your brain's electric. Every cell communicates with electrical impulses. That's why we have to keep our electrolytes balanced, right? So when you deal with the voltage, any of these hamster wheeling emotions in our body and our brain and our worry circles, they all basically steal energy from you. Okay, when there's chaos outside and you get, you put your fishing pole into that, you're reeling that into yourself, you're stealing your energy that could be available for you for doing things you actually really want to, instead of getting pulled into this. So what you're doing is you're really strengthening your field, right? That toroidal field of energy, which is not woo-woo, it's biophysics. So that stuff it just hits the field and just drains off, right? And you don't give away your energy as easily. So let's do the worry points. That's stomach meridian. And you can cross your arms because we also want to initiate crossing over of brain hemispheres, because energy tends to run lateral when you're really stressed. So we'll cross over and tap at the orbital bone here, stomach meridian 1 and 2. Those points, they regulate wind, they regulate heat, and the emotions like worry circles. And stomach meridian rules the neck muscles. So you know how tight your neck gets when you get stressed and you have worry circles, right? And you really only need to just tap these points 20 seconds, and it starts to, you feel like a little bit of a sigh. In the beginning, it might take you longer, like it might be like 30 seconds to a minute. You don't have to tap very hard, just connect to the skin. And you'll start to train yourself to move energy, and you'll start to feel a sigh or a yawn. Next, we'll come down just below the clavicles here, right? Collarbone is K27. So if you kind of follow the collarbone in where there's the V, it's just outside and below that. So we can tap on K27. This is a great regulator for the neck and the shoulders. It helps descend rebellious chi, right? Which is when you've allowed it to get a little out of control, right? Tapping into other people's crazy. Or your own crazy. I mean, we're all crazy, but you just want to tap that out. And fear and anxiety is kidney meridian, basically. I don't know anybody that has any of that. So, right? So we want to tap that out, the fear and anxiety. At 20 seconds, and eventually you'll start to feel like some movement of energy or some tightness, release, and a little bit of a sigh. And you're not sighing. The energy is sighing through you, okay? The next one is spleen 21. So just outside the nipple line and a little below, you pull your hands out, if you put your hands right below, like pull your arms back, right where the heel of your hand is, that's basically where spleen 21 is. So you can now tap that point. And you can also tap it this way if you want to cross over still too. Whoo! See, that was a big one for me today, right? And depending on the day, you're going to start to notice where your energy gets stuck. Spleen is very common. Spleen actually is usually where it kind of just dies off, because triple warmer, the meridian, gets a little stressed out, and then the energy doesn't really move through, and it steals energy from the spleen. Whew. Spleen also regulates your chi, and it also deals with the emotions. Too much, if you're having too much sympathy for somebody, or you feel you're not getting enough sympathy, if you're over empathic, if you're not really connecting, it also cleans the blood. It also moves the fluids in the body. So it's pretty important. Good. And then they call it the four thumbs because usually the fourth one is the thymus gland, which is the Tarzan point, right? So you can beat that. You can also just tap it gently, whatever feels right to you. Sometimes you'll be like, I need to tap it. Oh, that feels so good. Or I'm just going to be gentle. Your energy, if the whole point of this is to learn to connect to yourself and manage your energy management, right? This is self-care 101. Perfect. So just shake off your energy, clap your hands, shake off whatever that no longer serves you, that you picked up from those, the stuck energy there. One of the next things we'll do is some brain gym exercises. Basically, it's energy kinesiology, where, like we said, the energy of the brain when you're really stressed runs lateral. And that's not helpful. Notice when you're walking, you walk with opposite arm, opposite leg moves, right? So in that case, that's how the brain should operate. Otherwise, if you're really fatigued, you're kind of saying things wrong, you're a little dyslexic, you're a little discombobulated, uncoordinated, you can't come up with the right words. Oftentimes it's called your brain is switched. So you've gone lateral. So the energy isn't crossing over. You don't have access to a full 100% of your a whole brain state, right? So a lot of these next exercises are to create a whole brain state. Why is that important? Well, because when we get stressed and we get these worry circles, it starts to create these little wind up, hamster wheels in one area of the brain. And you can actually see it on a qualitative electroencephalogram, which is electroencephalogram. That's analyzing the electrical activity of your brain. So they can see it, and they can see that one area is overworking and under-regulating. So we're going to regulate the whole brain this way. If you feel like you want to stand up, go ahead and stand up for this. These are the hemisphericity repatterning, the cross crawls. But we're going to start. It's kind of like saying, I know my energy is running side to side, right? Same side to same side, but I really want it to cross over, opposite hand, opposite knee. So we start by rallying the energy, which is probably running lateral. If it's not, don't worry, this doesn't harm because it still resets everything. In another class, we learn how to actually test, is our energy crossing over or is it running lateral? And you'll learn to muscle test and use your leg. And it's amazing because everybody always is blown away how when you look at an X, your leg should be strong. If you look at lines, your leg should be weak. And then once you do this repatterning, what was weak is strong. And if it wasn't totally strong and it was a little yielding, then it will be super strong. So you can tell that your energy is getting stronger. So for now, just follow me. Either stand if you really feel like you need to shake it out, or you can do this for people that need to sit, okay? So we're going to do same side arm, same side leg 12 times. We're going to cross, we're going to go back and forth. So right hand, right knee, left hand, left knee. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Cross over, left hand, right knee. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Same side. 1. Crossing over. And we're saying, okay, I know you really want to be this way, but I'm going to repattern you. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Because now this is what I really want you to do. And we're going to do it 24 times. 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. So 24. Now, what you can really do, if that bothers the inside of your legs, you can actually, I'll demonstrate some standing movements. You can actually make that as you can do as much labor as you want with that. So you can be like same side, or you can go like this, same side, same side. So you're getting some hip movement. When you cross over, you can cross over and touch the foot or just touch the knee. You can also do a squat and a touch. That gets a little exercise in the glutes and stops the overworking psoas area, right? So you can have some fun with that one once you get used to it. All right. Another great hemisphericity stress reliever, also good for PTSD. Let's say any of these energy kinesiology techniques that we're doing can actually be used a la carte. You can just use one of them. You'd be like, oh, I'm really stressed out. Oh, I only remember this one. Do the hookup. Oh, I only remember, holding the lower dantian or holding the PowerPoints. By themselves, amazing. All right. So, and you'll start to find which ones you really gravitate towards and which ones will really help you for which situations too. Generally, they help, every one of them helps every situation, but you'll discover which ones in other classes when we do the testing, etc., which ones really you need and which ones you really feel the biggest settling. Okay. So this one's a great one to do while you're driving or you're stuck in traffic. Not really while you're driving, like, let's just say it's easy enough to do, especially if you're a passenger, but while you go, take your 3 fingers and go onto the yin tang point, that Shen spirit calming point. You're going to do figure 8s, or well, infinity symbols. They're called lemniscats, around your eyes. So you're going to come under the right eye and over, and then through the center and over and around the left eye. Every time you go under the right eye, count a number. Well, let's do 8. Under the right eye, that's 2, 3, 4. You felt my energy move there. 6, 7. You can close your eyes a little bit and open your eyes. You kind of need a little bit of both. So there's 8. So you come back to the yin tang point, the extraordinary point here for the spirit and the regulating the nervous system. Let's go over the left eyebrow. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Now I'm doing 8 for the sake of the fact that we're sandwiching this with a lot of other stuff. We're kind of making a salad, right? So we're a whole meal, really, multi-course. But if you're just wanting to do that by itself to see what effects it has, you can actually do that for like 2 or 3 minutes until you actually feel a sigh or a movement of energy. Go ahead and try that. See how long it takes you until you feel a settling or whatever when you're really stressed out. All right, the next technique is called the Wayne Cook posture. You can Google that and find it any day. It's good to do sitting or laying on your back. So we'll go right ankle over your left knee. You're going to get a bonus hip stretch. If you want more of a hip stretch, you can sit, or if you want to make it easier on yourself, you can sit right on the edge of your seat. This is the worst chair for that. Okay. So you're going to take, so the right foot is over. You're going to take the same side hand and place it on the palm onto the ball of the foot. And so the thumb is facing down to the heel, and the fingers are going to wrap around those toes because all your meridians start and end on the fingers and toes. So we're connecting everybody, yin and yang meridians. Take the left hand and put it on the top of your ankle joint. Relax the shoulders, sit up straight, get your bonus hip stretch on the right there. And let out whatever doesn't serve you anymore. Let out whatever's stuck in there. Make the sound, get it out, better out than in. And let's do 5 deep breaths. Then let's switch sides. I'll take my other sock off so you can see my feet. Left ankle over the right knee, left hand, palm goes to the ball of the foot, thumb faces down. Technically, there's a point here called K1. You'll learn you can also put your thumb in K1, which is in the divot there where the arch is, the end of the arch where the metatarsal heads are. Wrap your fingers around the toes, connecting those yin and yang meridians, bringing regulation to your energy. Right hand goes on top of the left ankle, shoulders are relaxed, sit up straight. Left hip bonus stretch. 5 deep breaths. We're creating a whole brain state with this Wayne Cook posture. Wayne Cook posture really takes those hamster wheels out of the different areas of the brain, and it creates a whole brain state. So it's actually been proven to be great for dyslexia, stuttering, ADHD. Yeah, that's why it's part of the brain gym curriculum there. So the second part of Wayne Cook is to take your fingertips and put them together, right? Not steepled, but round. So you're basically imitating your brain. The right hemisphere is touching the left hemisphere, and there's a crossover that happens there. That's your corpus callosum, right? So we're actually stimulating both sides talking to each other. And you can do it at your heart center and just breathe in and out of your heart center, that middle dantian. 3 deep breaths. This is my next favorite part. There's 3 parts to the Wayne Cook. That was number 2. And you want to take the thumbs to that yin tang point you're so familiar with. It's like key for so many things, right? Elbows back, shoulders relaxed. 3 deep breaths here. Move your body if you need to. Don't be rigid. If you like, I felt like, I can pop my neck there. A little bit of energy had to move out of my left shoulder. My upper right ribs, just move your body when you do these. Trust yourself. Connect to yourself. That's what this is all about. And then it ends with like a crown pull. So you take the baby fingers onto yin tang, interlace your fingers, pull across your forehead, behind the ears, and just come down to the heart center and cross your hands over there in 3 deep breaths here. Everything coming back to those core regulators, the dantians, the power centers in the core energy field. So it kind of ended with like what's also called a crown pull. And if you have a bit of a headache or you kind of feel a little scattered, you can often focus that energy in your electromagnetic field of your brain by doing the crown pull. So you would start again the same way, baby fingers on the third eye, interlace your fingers and just really pull out and behind the ears. And then baby fingers go a little higher, pull. You can press pretty hard with these. You're getting a little cranial bone stimulation down the sagittal suture. A little bit of cranial sacral osteopathic stimulation. Come a little higher, pull down, always go behind the ears. There's a meridian there that we're going to do, that I'll explain. Come down behind the ears, down the neck. Right? You start to feel stuff like draining out and being renewed with a little exchange of energy, maybe a little shiver, right? And then pull the base of the neck over those shoulders, interrupt that stress pattern and come down to the heart center again. Doesn't that feel looser? You kind of feel like something just woke up. Welcome to crown pull. So many great techniques. And you can do crown pull a la carte as well as the next one. So the ears in acupuncture and in functional neurology and in neurology, every cranial nerve that feeds your body and your organs and different functions comes out of your brain and down your spinal cord, but it also comes out and terminates on the ear, which is why auricular acupuncture is so effective. The whole body is on the ear, curled up in the ear. So you can affect changes through the whole body by stimulating that. So again, if you feel that 3 o'clock, I need a coffee thing, don't give in. Don't self-medicate like that. Do this kind of self-medication. It's much healthier. So you're going to take your fingers to the ears and lift up and out, opening the jaw and just squeeze and pull out. Feel the difference between the sides. Is one side tighter than the other? Maybe I'll move my head and do a little circle. You're actually regulating the different parts of the body as well as osteopathically or craniosacral, the back of the brain, like the falx and the tentorium, you're different, especially as you get down to the 5 o'clock area here and you're pulling down and back. And down, watch your earrings, down with the earlobes, open and close the jaw. So you just kind of stimulated all your cranial nerves. There's a lot of energy through there. And then tissue wise, like that, the ears go into the brain. So you're stimulating that, the eustachian tubes and the base of the skull, which is where we keep a lot of tension. And there's a lot of stress that gets stored there, right? So let's focus on the eyes now. So the fascia around the eyebrow goes all the way down the back, all the way down your back, down your butt, down the hamstrings, the calves, which are always tight for most people, under the soles of the feet and terminate here. That's like one piece of fascia. That's your back line, right? Your back myofascial chain. And there's a lot of stress and tension there. And it also needs to be stimulated because that's what keeps you upright. That's your gravity line, so to speak. So if you cross your hands, because we're going to work with that hemisphericity again, and squeeze, there's also bladder meridian nervous system regulating points right in what's called the glabella, the bridge of the nose, the base there of the beginning of your eyebrow. So we're going to squeeze with your fingers, your eyebrows. Squeeze from the center, squeeze all the way out. That was a big one for me. If you're not sighing or yawning or burping, that will come. And that's your energy moving. But you're training, you're basically exercising these pathways to train them to regulate faster and faster, and until you don't need to do these points. Like it's just self-regulation, right? Good. Another major bunch of self-regulating points are called neurolymphatics. So they move lymph. These points are so important that teachers of mine who are in their 90s now, when they were in the hospitals, and people were bedridden. You know, there's a real concern when you're bedridden that your fluid's not moving, right? And so that's the lymph. And the heart pumps the blood, but nothing pumps the lymph except the muscles. So Frank Chapman found a lot of these reflexes. He was an osteopath, and he found a lot of these reflexes would move local lymph, but also through the whole system, through the river system of the meridians. So we're going to just start by rubbing those K27 points that we were tapping earlier. We're going to rub them this time to initiate the neurolymphatic points that are under there, to move fluid and get rid of waste around the kidneys and locally as well. And then you're going to continue to go out under the clavicle. These are stomach points. And then you can cross over and come, or you can do one side at a time to get into the lung meridian. Like maybe you've got respiratory issues. So, to continue my story. So back in those days in the hospital wings, the osteopathic wings, people would rub, the doctors would come and rub these points. Like these are the lung points, which is right where the clavicle ends and your shoulder, your deltoid muscle is in the head of your humerus. And they would rub different points to encourage the lungs to get rid of waste and to move fluid, and the lymph to move through the chest and the organs. And nobody needed medication. Nobody got, pneumonia or anything. But once drugs became, let's switch sides, once drugs were available for pneumonia, they were kind of like, well, we don't want to spend the money on the manpower of sending the doctor around to the beds to do these points, or the nurses. We can just, if they get pneumonia, we'll just give them a drug. This is how things progressed or devolved, I would say. So drugs can be life-saving, but they also leaned on them a little too much. So you're learning some techniques that really can actually, they're medicine. They're legitimately medicine. All right, and then we're gonna open up. Here's your sternum, right? It's about 2 to 3 fingers wide. And if you just put your fingers in here and come out a bit, you'll feel those rib heads. Just dig, do little circles there. So you've got your governor vessel, your lung, gallbladder, and heart meridian points all through here. There's multiple points sometimes for different organ systems. And you start to feel that. And then you can come out farther. You've got governor vessel points here too, in the pec muscle. And you'll usually be able to tell where they are, because you'll be like, whoa, that's like a little knot. There's like a little area that gets congested. And if any of these are really sore, you need those ones more. The 2 most important points that I want to go over, they're shaped underneath the breast tissue, underneath the pec muscle here and here. So for ladies, it's where the underwear of the bra goes. So you can lift your breast a bit and lean back, and then start here and start just wiggling to try to find the space between the ribs. And when you find it for the first time, usually you'll squeal because it's like really sore. The more you keep doing, and so on the left, that's stomach and spleen waste removal and fluid moving around the organs and in that area on the left, right? Bring it all the way up to the armpit. And then on the right, that's the liver and gallbladder, right? Which are right here. And see which ones are more sore, which ones are having maybe a little more congestion in your energetic lymph, as well as in your actual lymph nodes. These points are so effective that I had a woman that had a double mastectomy, and they took a lot of lymph nodes, and she wasn't, moving fluid. So her arms would swell up, lymphedema. And when she was seeing a lymphedema therapist to rub these points, let's do the ribs right here, all the way down the ribs, the edges of the ribs. She was seeing a lymphedema therapist 3 times a week. Yeah, to release that. After 2 weeks of doing these, the lymphedema therapist said, what are you doing that's new? Because you don't need to come to me as often at all. Your lymph is moving. And she didn't even have lymph nodes, right? Most of them were taken. But this is energetic lymph as well as structural lymph. So that was moving it through so that her body regulated those areas. That's how powerful these points are. And then she went to, I think, just seeing her therapist once a month, twice a month, once a month, and then she didn't need her anymore. for real. So that's how powerful these neurolymphatics are. So the other thing I wanted to say about the neurolymphatics, let's go to the navel. Put your middle finger in your navel and then come out about an inch. Take all 4 fingers and go here. So we're moving a lot of emotions. Fear and anxiety are here. Fight and flight is here. Grief, guilt, and regret is also here. Guilt and regret also mostly. So we're moving emotions also with the lymph for the organs, right? In Chinese medicine, every meridian moves energy through an organ, a bunch of muscles, and has an emotion. So emotions can shut off muscles, emotions can make organs sick. Yeah. So you have a responsibility to yourself. Good. And what else are we doing? Okay. So if you sit back and you find the front of your pelvis here, right? And you sink just inside of that, just rub up and down those points. These are fear and anxiety points. You can also just kind of sit forward, use your thumbs, and feel inside that little bowl. That's your psoas iliacus area. And that major guarding there, major stress, tension, fear, anxiety, trauma gets stored there as well. So you're just going to rub up and down and move the emotion out of that area. Sometimes you might start crying with these, and you just got to go with it because it's not supposed to stay in your body. All right, so we move some stuck emotions there. And then in the legs, you go on the outside of the legs. And the angle, not the top, not the side, but that oblique angle there, that's circulation meridian, pericardium. Big exhaler, that rolls all the glute muscles. Super important for doing your exercise. You want to like kind of move the energy through here. And then in the center of the adductors, right, you squeeze, take your little pincers there and squeeze. If the line of your pants are here, you want to have your fingers underneath and your thumb over top. And you're just squeezing into the groin area. That's your small intestine. That helps you assimilate things that happen to you in life as well as in your food. And these lymphatic reflex points move the groin lymph, but also the ab muscle strength. Believe it or not, I have so many clients who, when they're weak doing a plank or their core is not stabilizing, just squeezing the small intestine points for the abs, they can do a heck of a lot more. Try it yourself. All right, so we moved some energy there and then just move the energy down the arms. This is martial arts stuff, right? That's why they do this, because they know they're masters of their nervous system and their energy system, right? And shake it off. Okay, good. All right, so let's talk about a really specific point for grounding. So grounding, we talked about before, the K1 point, kidney meridian 1. This is the gushing spring, wellspring of life. It calms the spirit. It is also a restoring consciousness point. You're going to get into a position, I'm going to do it like this because I'm flexible here, where we can tap both of these at the same time. So remember, we were tapping all those other tapping points. In order to regulate a meridian point, and there's tons of them, like to simulate putting an acupuncture needle in that point, you tap. So you're going to take all 5 fingers and you tap the point for 20 seconds. And then you tap, stretch, you open your fingers, tap and then open to create more voltage. These are voltage points. You can actually buy an acupuncture pen and find these points, and it'll measure the voltage at these points and tell you if it's 100%. But you can, and what would you do? Well, you could put a needle in it, but I don't like needles, and maybe you don't either. And you can also just, where's my needle? I don't know where that little, because you can get them and put them on the points. But you can also just tap, stretch, and then polarize. So every point has an energy flow direction. And sometimes the energy starts pooling from too much fear and anxiety, right? You get restless legs. It's not draining out and coming back up or going back down. It's stuck. It's like the switch for the train track, right? So we're gonna, at the end, you go fingerprints, fingernails, fingerprints, fingernails, fingerprints, fingernails, right? Because the fingerprints of your body are positive. They have a positive charge. The back of your hand has a negative charge. Believe it or not, it's biophysics. Okay, so let's tap. So we're going to take these K1 points as grounding points, and we're going to make sure that they're regulated and energy is moving in the right direction. One of the things that happens when we're stressed is we get ungrounded. So we want to really open these points and make sure that our energy, our consciousness, our wellspring of life it's gushing. It's literally connected to the earth. That's what earthing is about. These are major earthing points and grounding points, right? And then let's tap stretch. So it's right in that, I think I was pretty clear, right in that arch where it's the divot, the soft spot. Tap, stretch, 20 seconds. K1 is such a powerful point, and I learned this in school, but I actually had a chance to put it into action. It will restore consciousness if somebody passes out or has a heart attack or is in a coma. You don't want to wake everybody up in a coma because sometimes their body's like resting and repairing, but I'll tell you the story in a second, how I was able to bring somebody back with this point. All of my teachers always had this a story, but I finally had my own. So last one to regulate this point, fingerprints, fingernails, fingerprints, fingernails, fingerprints, fingernails. So a friend of ours had an epileptic seizure and wasn't coming to. She bit her tongue. There was blood everywhere. It was kind of really upsetting for a lot of people, right? And so, of course, everybody's looking to me, what are you going to do? And there's nothing you can do, really. But when she really hadn't come to for a while, I thought, all right, I'm going to put these points to the test. And so I reached under her sandals and you press them really hard. So if somebody's passed out, somebody's had a heart attack, press these points really hard, boom. And she sat right up and said, what happened? Right? Yeah, for real. It really does work. So many people have stories like this. All right, so now that point's regulated. It's kind of like energy is flowing in the right direction, and we're moving energy down into the earth and out, and from the earth drawing up. So we're grounding more, and our consciousness and rebellious chi is able to leave the body. So now that's kind of like the plug in the bottom of the bathtub, and now we're going to start draining a lot of extra crap out of the body, right? So take your hands, palms up, and we're going to put them behind the knees. There's a lot of bladder meridian points there. Bladder meridian rules the nervous system. And there's also gallbladder neurovasculars, triple wormer neurovasculars for resentment, frustration, fight and flight. You'll feel how calm you'll feel just by holding these, all right? So let's close our eyes and do 5 deep breaths, holding the hands against the back of the knees. Ah. And you start to feel some pulsing back there, right? Like there's energy collecting, energy ready to move. So now we want to help ground it out. So we're going to take one leg and we're going to squeeze down the gastrocnemius muscle, the calves. So the gastrocnemius has 2 heads. So you should be able to actually feel the space between the 2 heads and press down the top through the tibialis anterior muscle. This chair has an angle and it's hilarious. And then when you get maybe 3 times, right, everything sort of energy starts to move on about the 3rd round. Then you're going to take your thumb and you're on the inner part of the heel and Your fingers on the outer part. Kidney meridian, bladder meridian. They're a pair, a yin yang pair. They regulate the nervous system, fear, anxiety, hopelessness, So you're kind of just regulating a bit of that. And then you're going to open what's called the gate reflexes, which are between the tendons of the toes. So you start kind of rubbing on the out. See how I keep sliding down? It's so funny. It's a beautiful chair, though. It's just not very practical. So rub on the outside of the base of the big toe and the baby toe. And each one of these points represents a group of muscles that are used and involved in your gait pattern, right? So runners, this is really great to do before you go for a run. Walkers, same thing. So that you know that a lot of those muscles tend to shut off with emotions, and as we get older, believe it or not. So it's really good to just get them moving. Rub between the big toe and the second toe, and then rub between the second toe and the fourth toe. You're just getting all of those spaces. And also there's a lot of adhesions that build up in the foot. So osteopathically, you're kind of moving fluid and tissue and kind of providing a stimulus to the body to allow it to regulate. And since the meridians come on and off each toe, there's a martial arts seed sound that you can use to flush the emotion out. So the baby toe, let's take that. That's the bladder meridian. That's hopelessness is the emotion. If I was to pick one word. So we're going to inhale and pull the baby toe, and the seed sound is CHOO, like choo-choo train. So we're going to inhale and get rid of that hopelessness. The fourth toe is the gallbladder toe. That's wood energy. So that's resentment outward. Not like anybody has any of that about anything, right? So that's the seed sound. Shh. That's the sound you're going to make. SH. Inhale. Shh. Pull off. The middle toe does not have a meridian. It's basically a balanced toe. So I call that the freelance toe. So you get to make whatever other sound you want to make right now, right? Like a freelance sound. So like I'll lead. I'll go, right? Very common emotion. The second toe is stomach meridian. So that's worry. We already encountered that with the stomach 1 and 2 tapping points. Very common emotion. And that's an earth rhythm there. That's an earth element. And the seed sound is WHO. So we're going to go inhale. Whew. Good. The big toe is so important. It has 2 meridians. The liver meridian, which goes with gallbladder, it's wood, and it's SH again. So we're going to pull off the big toe. Get rid of liver, which is frustration, anger directed inward. Gallbladder is more anger directed outward. Resentment. Liver is more anger that's kept inside, right? No good. So now you're getting rid of it. The spleen meridian is on the inside. So that's the pairs with stomach. That's earth, and that's WHO. Good. Now compare both legs. You feel a difference, right? Like you feel energy moving and you kind of feel alive on this side, right? So let's do it again on the other side. So we're going to squeeze down that gastrocnemius, your calf muscle, and squeeze and rub your shins on top 3 times. If it's really sore, it means there's a lot of congested energy and the muscle's not really working optimally. Massage the kidney and bladder points on the inside and outside of the heel. Self-care. Come down on the foot and rub the outside of the base of the baby toe and the base of the big toe. 10 seconds, really all you need. The body's so smart, it knows all of these points and it knows how to regulate and what program to run when you actually, when you stimulate them. In between the 5th toe and 4th toe, in between the 1st and 2nd, and then move in between the other tendons, little circles, little lines. So you're just breaking that up. You're moving with your fingers underneath as well. And then you can try to press, do you hear the pops? You can try to press your toes down and you get a bit of a release of the gas that was in between the joints that were stuck. Baby toe, bladder, hopelessness. Inhale. Bye-bye. 4th toe, gallbladder, resentment outward. SH. Bye-bye. 3rd toe, freelance toe. So whatever sound you need to get out of you right now, make it. Ah! Second toe, no judging. Second toe, stomach meridian, worry, WHO. You can also say, whoo, like an owl, or you can just go, whoo. All of the element sounds are actually sounds of nature. So you'll hear all these sounds in nature. Big toe, liver meridian, SH, that's frustration, anger directed inward. Shh. Awesome. Spleen meridian, earth. Spleen meridian, it's like worry as well, lack of faith, too much empathy, too much sympathy, not enough empathy, not enough sympathy, and imbalance. When you can't really strike that balance of like you're over sympathizing and you're putting yourself at risk, so you're not looking after yourself. You're there for everybody else. You're over empathizing, or maybe you feel you don't get enough sympathy. That's like imbalances going on in the earth element. Inhale, exhale, WHO. Good. Feels pretty even now, right? There's a Hawaiian grounding technique that I really like. And you can stand and do that. Buh, 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 right? Just for like 30 seconds, go ahead and do that. So that sort of grounds everything out. So we moved a lot of that energy because a lot of times headaches or overthinking is too much energy here and the yang isn't moving down, right? And then the yin is coming up. So there's a bit of an imbalance there. So now that we did that, let's just shake our hands off with all that excess energy we took out of the body, right? Legit, it attaches. All right, so we got rid of that. What else do I want to do? Let's do some crossovers. So take your right hand over the left shoulder, squeeze that tight muscle. See how tight it is, check in with it. Bring it down across the body and off the opposite foot. Left hand, right shoulder, squeeze and pull it down through the heart center off the opposite foot. And if you can't bend down, just send it off. Intention. Energy flows where your attention goes. 3 times each side. That starts the energy pattern moving. These are crossover patterns again, right? Squeeze. Good. 3 times each side gets that energy moving. There's also a radiant circuit called belt flow, and I find that really regulates well, it regulates your nervous system as well as your left and right, as well as your organs and all the meridians that come up from your toes. So you're going to start with your left hand on the left side of your spine, where that Mingmen point was. And the sacred geometry of the body is that your heel and your fingers will go from the bottom of your ribs to your SI joint. And start pulling energy, stuck energy out of there. On the left, you've got spleen and stomach, and you've got your kidneys and adrenals, right? A lot of stuck fear and anxiety back here. Pull it across through that lower dantian and then down and off the opposite foot. Squeeze the toes, get rid of it. Pull from the right side of your back, your lower back. Pull out of the liver gallbladder, that resentment and frustration, directed in or out or both. Pull it through the lower dantian, down and out there. And of course the kidneys, right? Number 2. So we got 1A, 1B. Now we're on 2A. Pull it through that lower dantian. Let it clean all that energy. Push it off the opposite foot. Clean out the fear and anxiety that goes to the lower back. Regret and guilt also go to the lower back. Let's go for pair number 3. So now you're starting to really train the energy to move. Good. Other side. And you can just stop and try this when you're really frustrated. You're like, where are you holding the tension? Start thinking about where you're doing that and which one of these exercises might work. If you do this whole hour, a little over an hour, if you do the whole thing, it's just really nourishing for the whole system. It's like a whole system reset. I would recommend 3 times a week at first to do the whole gamut, right? But each one of these can be taken on their own and you can try them, all right? So one of the next ones we're going to do is when you really just had a shock or a stress, or you're really angry, or really it's more like your nervous system's just ganging up on you, right? We're going to flush the triple warmer meridian. So just kind of, you're feeling pretty calm now, but you can also do this in the very beginning, or when you're just by itself. You're going to take your right hand to the eye, outside of the eyebrow. This is the meridian that's sort of your limbic system, your emotional system. It regulates all different burners in the body that we were just talking about, and the lower organs, the middle, and the nervous system. And when it regulates the limbic system, that's where you get a lot of those hamster wheels in the limbic system, and it's not coming through the thinking brain, the front cortex, right? So you can calm the triple warmer by doing it, flushing it backwards one time. Right hand to the left eyebrow, come down in front of the ear, trace around the ear, follow the pathway down the back, over your shoulder, back of the arm, and then you're going to pull off the ring finger and say H-A-W. That's the seed sound for the fire meridian. Other side, left hand, right eyebrow. Pull it to this is the pathway where they would put all the acupuncture meridian needles, but we're just smoothing it and flushing it out. So it gets too much heat. Eyebrow, front of ear, around the ear, down the back of the neck, over the shoulder, back of the arm, ring finger. Good. Triple warmer. The only time you would never trace that backwards really is if you're really sick. You need triple warmer to rally, to fight for your life, or like literally, or just rally your immune system. In a case where somebody's losing consciousness or they've had a car accident, you actually want to strengthen that meridian so it helps them fight for their life. Fight, flight, or freeze, right? But generally, we've got these patterns of fight, flight, or freeze. So we just want to trace that backwards to calm that down once in a while, okay? There's other ways to do it. So triple warmer and spleen are kind of the two. Spleen needs more nourishing when you're in a high state of panic and PTSD and stress all the time. So we're going to work with the two of those. To strengthen the spleen meridian, we want to strengthen it. We don't want to flush it. The pathway, we're just going to trace it forwards 3 times. So it starts like you already learned on the big toe on the inside. So you're just going to rub the inside of the base of your big toenail and then come down the instep, come up the inseam. You can bend over to do that too. Come up the inseam through the side of the breast, and then using the heel of the hand, you're on spleen 21 that you already learned as a tapping point. You can I kind of do little figure 8s here. And then again, touch the beginning of the spleen meridian at the base of the big toe, come through the instep, inseam, through the side of the breast, and then land where the heel of the hand is. And we're strengthening spleen to move more fluid, move more energy, equitable distribution of energy, and all different other pathways that it distributes to bring energy up. I felt that one. Now, here's a really great one if you're stuck somewhere and you can't show that you're doing energy medicine. You take the left hand or whatever, we're going to do that both sides. Hold that spleen 21 point. Take the right hand, and at the base of the elbow, like just behind it's called the funny bone, the olecranon process, just above there in the soft spot, you're just going to hold your fingers over there. This is very nourishing because it's taking that energy and it's weaving. It's taking triple warmer from always looking for enemies and danger and always finding them. And it's kind of weaving it into, I think Donna Eden calls it triple weaver. So it starts, kind of looking for friends instead of always looking for enemies. And it calms the triple warmer and it puts energy into spleen so that triple warmer is not backing up with too much energy. So in Chinese medicine, too much energy is disease. Not enough energy is disease. So back to that 100% voltage and all the meridians and all the organs and all the areas of your brain, we want balance. We want centered energy and balance and wholeness. So 3 words you want to always work with: center, balance, and wholeness. All right. Let's see, what else did I put? Dun, dun, dun. Let's open the neck channels. So you'll start in the middle of the neck and you'll come up to the jaw and down to the clavicle. Do that a few times in the center. Then go out to the right and do a few times there. Move 1 more inch, go there. 1 more inch, go there. People with neck pain, tight necks, you'll notice this starts to move energy in the neck that's stagnant. You can keep going and just stimulate. Good. Then feel the difference. You're like, oh, it feels totally looser on the one side. Now go just to the left of the center in the middle, pull down and up 3 times almost each place, and then move another inch. Move another inch. I'm a neck person. I keep tension in my neck. Some people keep it in their low back, some people in their pelvis, some people in their chest. They can't breathe. It's different for all of us, right? Nothing's right or wrong. It's just basically know your weakness and know what to do about it. And then that starts to balance everything out for you. And then notice how loose that feels all of a sudden, right? And one of the last things I want to go over are some of the neurovascular holds. So we learn neurolymphatics, which move the lymph and the fluid and the energy and also move the emotions. The neurovasculars balance blood flow in the brain, and they also move emotions. So the neurovasculars, if you Google search neurovasculars, you'll find they're all over the body, but generally we'll work with the ones on the head. The 2 most important are the stomach meridian ones. That's worry, right? Who doesn't have worry? So if you follow your eyebrows and your hairline and you just move your fingers up and down there, you'll kind of feel a little ledge. There's a little ledge. That's the frontal eminences. And these are neurovascular points for your frontal lobe, which is your thinking brain. And remember the limbic brain, the little hamster wheel of stress, you're trying to route it through the thinking brain. And you can literally do that. You can see it on a QEEG. So you're going to hold these points, just the amount of weight that a dime would put on your finger, on your hand. So not very heavy. Sit back, relax your shoulders, let your elbows rest on your chest, and just let your head fall forward a tiny bit. Then just make contact with these points. And we're going to hold it for a minute. This process is worry, gets the thinking brain going, and you'll start to feel a big shift. Apparently there was some worry. Make the sound. Don't keep it in. So there's about a minute. Now I sighed twice. I had a pop in my neck and shoulder, and then I had a yawn. So that tells me, and maybe you did too, that that's a really big one for me, stomach meridian. And stomach rules neck muscles. So what did I say? That's where my tension goes. So there was a lot of energy that needed to be released there, and it definitely got moved. Maybe you feel energy come through your face after that. Stomach meridian is also really important for headaches. Rules the neck muscles, which are usually at the root cause of that for the tension, but also, I was going to say the stomach meridian for the neck muscles. These points also help headaches. Okay. Now, if you want to do a general hold for fear and anxiety, you would hold both front stomach points and then the base of the skull, where the kidney meridian points are. So that's fear and anxiety, okay? And we're routing that fear and anxiety through the thinking part of the brain. You can hold these points on somebody else. You can hold them on yourself. You can have somebody else hold them on you too. I had a roommate that was really freaking out once, and I held the panic points for her, which we're going to do next. And she calmed right down and was able to focus. Let's take 3 more deep breaths here. See what you feel in your body. You can start to feel that settling, right? So if your arms start to hurt, first of all, that means your shoulders are weak. Second of all, you can also just do this laying on your back in bed, all right? Leaning back in a chair, however you want, just holding these points. That's fear and anxiety. The points for panic are take the back of the head hand and put it not at the top, but at the back, just higher than the base of the skull. That's the triple warmer neurovascular point. And this is panic, shock, trauma, right? Freaking out. Wow. You can even make the seed sound for that. So for kidney, it's CHOO. And try to bleed some of that energy off. Fear and anxiety. This one is HAW. Triple warmer is the fire element. You don't have to continually make that sound, but if you feel you need to, that will help move those emotions, which is like hate, anger, frustration too is here, shock, trauma, or when your nervous system just gasses out, right? You'll notice you probably make those sounds automatically. And we also kind of do these holds automatically. It's the same thing when we go, oh my God, okay, what am I going to do? 1, 2, 3. We're instinctively putting our hand here to keep the blood flow going through the thinking brain. So when something bad happens, people often do this, right? Which, again, helps the central and governor meridian organize. So the terminals of our battery keep going if we don't short circuit. Or we're trying to think, or people go, oh my God. This is worry, fear and anxiety, stress. So that's just, it feels good, right? Like we know we instinctively do these things. Oh, what am I going to do, right? And you're just trying to think. Lastly, we can go here and process grief is the top of the head. If you're in grief, this process is grief. If you're angry, this process is anger as well. Whatever has too much will be regulated. And the sounds you can make are S, which is lung and grief. And if you put the heel of your hand on the sort of the ledge above the ear here, as it curves into the top, those are the parietal sutures. Those are also regret and guilt, hate, anger. There's a lot of stuff stored there too. But if the heel of your hand is there, you're also getting the top of the head, and then you're kind of getting you'll notice the sacred geometry of your hand again. You can actually touch that ledge here, top of the head, and touch the other one. And now you're getting all of the lung and large intestine meridian, where the seed sound, grief, guilt, and regret is S. But again, if you've got a lot of anger or hatred or something you're trying to process, then that's fire element, then that would be the seed sound HAW. And you would just hold this and try to get rid of that. And you'll notice it starts to repattern and move that emotion through. Good job. So that's an introduction to neurovasculars. And then you've got, I want to go over the heart math. So the middle dantian, CV17, the heart center, the Sea of Qi, all of this area that regulates, us being heart centered, you've got a huge electromagnetic field coming off of your heart. Okay. An electrocardiogram is what registers the electrical activity of the heart, right? So I'm going to ask you to just take your left hand on there first. So the heart is kind of right where your ribs come up. That's your xiphoid process. Your heart's kind of sitting right there toward just a little to the left. So you put your hand there and then put your right hand over. So this is the Institute of Heart Math. The concept here is about heart-brain coherence. So when we're stressed, like we're usually our heart's twisted and we're like, I don't believe in myself. That person pissed me off. I can't do this. I'm too stressed. Nobody understands. Nobody listens. Whoa, hamster wheel here, right? And the brain and the heart just deregulate. And that's where they're not, the hemispheres of the brain aren't communicating and the stress centers you're beside yourself. You're like kind of your geometry's all falling apart. Everything's all going to, poop. So you can regulate that with what's called heart-brain coherence. And there's science that, has studied this, and there's a program you can buy even, which I have for the computer, that shows you how agitated your brain waves and your heart rate variability is, your ability to adapt to stress or to process it. After a heart attack, they measure heart rate variability and show whoever has the most heart rate variability usually gets, makes it through the heart attack. And so it's actually a nervous system. How well can your nervous system regulate and adapt to a stressor in your environment? If you're somebody that really flies off the handle quick, this is big for you. You want to learn to regulate quicker. So the Institute of Heart Math realized that if you put somebody on a heart rate variability monitor and it's really jagged, you're really stressed, as soon as you put your hands on your heart and feel your heartbeat, tune into your heartbeat, close your eyes right now. Where's your heartbeat? Listen, feel, and breathe in and out through this massive electromagnetic field in your chest center. And when you feel that, your heart and your brain start making super beautiful, that you can see it on the screen, heart rate coherence, beautiful waveform instead of those jagged static edges. So let's go ahead and close our eyes and do this for a minute. And you can add to this the emotion appreciation, which really vanquishes a lot of heartbreak and activates your hypothalamus, which is basically, you don't always have to take a drug for something to get the mood change that you want. You have an inner drugstore, which is called your hypothalamus, which whatever you're thinking, it will make that chemical to make your body feel that. So if you're like stinking thinking, and you're like, I hate myself, I suck, I'm a loser, blah, 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 right? Hamster wheel, right? So lost voltage, that you could be using to do something else that you're good at, or you want to do, but you're down on yourself. So your heart rate coherence is off and just the whole system's off. So your hypothalamus is going to make non-beneficial, caustic, bad chemicals to make your body feel that you are a loser, right? And we all know you start feeling like bad when you think bad thoughts. It's biophysics, biology. It's how we work. Just like the whole, let's put it this way. When you have a sexual thought towards somebody who walks in the room, or you're about to make love, your hypothalamus goes, oh, thinking about that, huh? I'm going to make those chemicals. Well, let's see what happens down here when we make those chemicals. And you get fluttery, you get excited, you get shivers, you have the appropriate physical reaction for what you're thinking. So that's your inner pharmacy, right? So if you're thinking appreciation, you can immediately change your chemistry and make your cells feel better. You've got about 50 to 70 trillion cells in your body, and they are your children. They are waiting for you every day. What are you going to feed us? And it's based on what you're thinking tells your hypothalamus to make your pituitary adrenals, to make what chemical, which goes with what you're thinking. So you better be thinking right to feed your children the best food. So let's do appreciation. So you're going to sit there and think of something that you have appreciation for: a sunset, the beach, the best concert you've been to, the best dinner, the best dessert, a puppy, a squirrel, whatever comes to mind, unicorns. Think of anything that gives you appreciation: your kids, a loved one, the stars. Just go for it and feel your heartbeat and connect. Generate those feel-good chemicals in your body. Come on, you can do it. Feel the power in that heartbeat. Feel the power in that chest center. Feel the electromagnetic field of just how powerful you really are. Breathe that appreciation through all of your cells. You deserve it. Yes, you do. Come on. Feel appreciation. Breathe in and out of your heart. Let it put the smile on your face. Just using the muscles of a smile create those chemicals. Move your body. Oh, beautiful. There's some heart rate coherence. All right, so let's stand and let's finish up with connecting heaven and earth for your whole electromagnetic field, right? So there's something called your Earth star, which is the bottom of your toroidal field. And there's something called your sun star above your head. That is the top of your toroidal field. An aura sounds like it's woo-woo, but it actually does exist. It's actually the electromagnetic field of your enteric nervous system, your heart, and your brain, which has the most electromagnetic conductivity. And every cell gives off electromagnetic energy. Every cell is a battery. So here's your field, right? So we're going to work with that. We're going to shake off any excess energy and ground on our thighs. Raise the hands up through the field and come down in prayer pose at the heart center. And then let's connect you to the divine and to the earth. You are the connection between the earth and the heavens, right? One hand goes down, inhale, one hand pushes up. Big inhale. Exhale, center, clap, and reach through. It's not so much a clap, but coming through heart center. Come up on the tippy toes if you want. Take in through your hand, reaching for the heavens, everything that you want. Ground out and be grounded, and release whatever you don't want. Connect yourself to the heavens and to your planet. Connect yourself to your creator, who can answer all of your questions through your inner world, connecting through your inner world to your creator. It's the best medicine. And then when you finish, what we can do is you honor the 4 directions they're directions, but with figure eights. What are figure eights? They're the lemniscate movement that in quantum physics, every molecule of anything, this table, me, you, that mirror, everything all vibrates. They're vibrating filaments of string, but they don't just vibrate like this. They actually vibrate in a figure eight. Your red blood cells go through your blood vessels in a figure eight pattern. Your DNA helix, right? So figure eights are used in osteopathy, brain gym, everything to create coherence in your body. So we're going to start, it's a figure eight, but it's really on its side. So it's like an infinity symbol. So I want you to look down at your feet and see a figure eight pattern, like each foot is standing in the Vesica Pisces, they call it, but use both hands and trace that pattern. This is huge for your brain, for dyslexia, for ADHD, for any, to create a whole brain state and to stimulate the frontal lobe more, for focus. These are great. Just doing this by itself is a functional neurology exercise. But now you're going to bring those figure eights with your favorite color up in front of you. So you're strengthening your auric membrane to protect you from the chaos of others, and you're going to stay centered. You're overhead with your figure eights and then come down through your center Tai Chi pole, right? And bring it back up. Good, right? Now we're going to turn a quarter turn and face the other direction. Start again under your feet, right? And you're going to bring those figure eights with your favorite color into your field to create your magnetic energy to attract more of what you need instead of what you don't need. Overhead, and then come down your Tai Chi pole, right? Turn one more quarter turn. So now you're facing away from me, probably. And you're going to start those figure eights under your feet, the infinity symbols with your favorite color. Spin them into your auric membrane until you're overhead. And then come down your Tai Chi pole. One more quarter turn. Start again under your feet, favorite color, magnetically drawing to you what you need and strengthening your field with your life color. Overhead, and then come down into the heart center again. And then you can just freelance and you can do those. You can do your squats and your cross crawl to get the energy moving again. Or just stand here. This is a great way to finish, get that energy moving, and then to integrate everything you've done at the end, middle fingers and the navel and third eye again, the spirit gate and the yin tang, calming of the spirit, calming of the Shen. And then rate how you feel now compared to how you felt over an hour ago. Okay. So this is a really great long introduction to a lot of different energy medicine work. And you can use a lot of these independently by themselves. They don't always have to be used in a group. You know, they're always stronger in a group, but you can use them just, I feel off. I feel pulled in two different directions. Do some crossovers to pull yourself back. Hold your hookup points, you know, take any of these by themselves and try them, and you're going to start to feel a big shift. Thanks for working with your bioelectric body and keeping yourself centered.